Hi, friends. We are going to be making this ordinary beautiful life layout today. Here is your guide with your quick cutting instructions, and I'll be helping you put it together so that you'll know how to do these. These are pockets, so we're going to be taking a look at that. With this one, I actually was challenged to do a good, better, best. So I'm going to show you a good example of this layout, a better example of this layout, and then the best version of this layout, which is what we're going to do. We're looking at our this is our good layout. There's nothing wrong with this layout. We have beautiful papers. Um, on the left-hand page, we have a 4x6 and a 3x4 and our title, and it's great. On the right-hand page, we have three beautiful papers, and we've got two 4x6 photos. You could put a 3x4 photo here, some journaling, and we could definitely call this done. All right, we're kicking it up a notch. So let's take a look at each page individually. So here we have our left-hand page, and I hope you can see it. I'm going to bring it up a little bit, but can you see there's some Wink of Stella splattered on this page? The pictures are the same sizes, but we've kind of angled them for some interest. Added a few, now these are just punch outs, so nothing too extraordinary. Same title, just added a little interest. So it got better. So on our right-hand page, so this is our right-hand page, this is where we started, and this is what we did, what we've added. Again, some Wink of Stella, just a little Wink of Stella on there, added a little embellishment, a flip flap, a little embellishment up here, and it looks good. I would be happy with this layout. But if you want to kick it up even another notch, let's go up one more notch. So what we've done, let's take a look at it together. Pretty cool. Kept our flip flap, just moved it a little bit. Look at, we've added a pocket, not one, but two. So let's take a look at each page individually. So on this one, we kept all the stages from 1 to 2, but what we've added in this one, so you've got your Wink of Stella, you've got your punches, you've got your photos on a little bit of an angle, added a little bit of ink brushing on the title, done it a little bit over here and a little bit over here, took our stamp set and added some butterflies, just the outline, just to keep that flowing through, and a few little embellishments. So we've kicked that up another notch. Let's take a look at the right-hand page. This one we kicked up quite a bit. So what we did, we still had our flip flap, but look at this. We've added a pocket to this page. So the background stayed the same. We kept our little stripes. We kept a couple of our embellishments. We've added a cluster down here, and we've added another pocket here. And then some more of that ink blending and some more of that solid butterfly stamping. So again, flip flap, cluster, pull out. Look at, we've got some hidden journaling. You could put another photo on the back. You could put more journaling on there. And I'm going to be showing you how I created this pocket. It's pretty easy, and you're going to get to use some of those things that you never used and have, I know you've been saving them. And then added some gems. So let's get started creating these layouts. All right, we've got our packet. We're going to take some of our pieces out. Well, I'm going to pull them all out, and then we're going to sort them. So you have a little baggie here. This is all of your die cut pieces, your little gems, your punched out butterflies, all those little pieces for you that we're going to need eventually. So I'm just going to set that off to the side. You also have your flip flap. So we're going to put that off to the side because we're going to use those later. These are those on the pieces that you have. I know you've been saving these. These are that cardboard that comes in your DSP or your two-tone cardstock. This is what it is. I just took some strips of it. So we're going to use these to create the pocket. So we're going to put that off to the side. We can do these right now if we would like. And then we are going to need 2 of these strips for those. So we're going to do some assembly, some stamping, and then we're going to put it all together. When I do these, I like to lay everything out. So these are your mats. Now the photos are trimmed. So they are a trimmed 4x6 or 3x4 photo because your mats are going to be that size. So we're going to need those later. Here's some of your pieces here that we're going to stamp on. We're going to stamp on this piece. So you can kind of put them together if you'd like, and you can decide. This is such a cool paper. It's got the black and white on the back. If you prefer black and white, go for it. I like I said, I kind of like to lay out my pages. This will be my left-hand page. So this will be my center. I'm going to put my striped paper strips down the side, just so I have an idea where things go. This will go there, and these will go there. So we're going to do some inking. We're going to do some stamping on this before we kind of put it all together. And then and then my title will go right down at the bottom. So we can kind of put things together like that. That way you have an idea where all the pieces go. Let's take our right hand sheet and we're going to put those together kind of as well. So this is a really cool, I don't know, watercolor, tie-dye, that'll go there. And then we're going to butt this one right up to it and this one right up to that. We're not going to glue these down at all right now because these two are very special. They're going to have our pockets on them. And then this is some pool party. Like I said, we can put these strips on right now if you would like, because they're just going to go right on top, just to give it a little extra pizzazz on there. So just like that. These guys are going to go, so one's going to go here with our flip flap on it. One's going to tuck underneath there, and one's going to tuck underneath there. If we want to lay out our other pieces, this one will lay on top of here. And if we want to get our little pieces out, we probably could do that because we're going to do some stamping. We're going to stamp on this, which is going to go there. We're going to stamp on our heart, which is going to be part of our cluster. We're going to stamp on this little flag. And I think that is all we are going to be stamping on right now in this, other than our pages. So everything else can stay in your little baggie so you don't lose it. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our stamp sets. We are going to be using the Extraordinary Life, the 167713, and we're going to be using just these solid butterflies from Olive Flutter. So let me go grab my inks and we'll get ready to stamp. All right, we're ready to start our stamping. So I'm going to start with the rectangle that we have here. These will probably all be on blocks by the time you stamp, just because I know this is one of the projects that we're going to be doing. I brought in my silicone mat. I know it's going to be way easier for you guys to see. So I'm going to put it on my mat. I always pick up my, or almost always, I shouldn't say always. I almost always pick up my stamp from my page. I'm using Memento ink. You could use whatever black ink you like. All right. And I know that this has already been seasoned because I've used it several times. All right. And going to stamp that. You know, if you leave it on there just a little bit longer, your stamped image just comes out a little bit clearer. We're not quite done with this, so I'm just going to put that off to the side. I know it's tiny. Okay. Might have to see my hair. I'm not sure. Love clear stamps. There we go. Pretty good. We're going to take the heart and it says love it. Don't we do love this stuff. All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to ink again. And it is so much easier to see on the darker with the white. There we go. I'll let it sit for just a second because I want it to get nice and dark. There we go. Love it. I do love it. So we have this piece, which is, oh, actually we have two pieces. I forgot about the inside of this one. All right, so I'm gonna again pick it up with my block. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That over here. Ink it up, and this goes right on the edge. So it looks like it's part of a notebook. There we go. I did use the top 5 out of here. So we've got some stamping to do. Let's grab another block. There we go. And then on the top of this one, we're going to do top 5. There we go. So we have done everything now with our black ink. So if you're doing this, clean it up. Or if you're passing on to another person, that's great. All right, let's do some ink blending. So this really is a clean brush. This is one of my make and take brushes. So dip, dip, tap, tap, and then swirl. And you can practice this on a piece of paper. So I'm going to kind of get my brush loaded and I'm going to start and I just kind of keep going around and around. And it's better to do a light touch and do it more than once than to come out and go really heavy and then you get this big blob. So dip, dip, tap, tap, light-handed swirl. And you can just keep swirling and it'll come out. Okay, so that is our part of our title. All right, so we're going to do some of that, the same type of thing now on our pages. So I'm going to move my silicone mat. I'm going to bring in one of my back page or my pages. So here I've got, we're going to kind of put it together for you guys so you can see roughly, this is going to be centered. Okay, this is going to be centered now. Pull out my camera a little bit. So we're going to center it on here, but we want some up here and we want some down here, almost to go all the way out to the edge. So let me go ahead and work on that. So nice light hand to do this. And I'm kind of going to make like a big circle. And I'm going to have to do it a couple different times, but like I said, you're going to have we're going to do some stamping on it as well, but we're going to kind of do this. And if you want it darker, keep going over it. I want it a little darker, but I want it to kind of be darker towards the center. And if you want to, you can always bring in this sheet. Now remember, there's a little bit on each side. So that looks like a good amount. Okay, so now I'm going to start on this part of it, as it's on both sides, or on both the top and the bottom. And you see I got a little bit there and a little bit up there that's a little bit darker, but it's all right. We're gonna stamp some butterflies on here too. So, all right. So let's actually finish this part of the page. So we're gonna stamp those butterflies. So they are on all a flutter, and we can do them a couple different ways. On the bottom one, I did them all together, and on the top one, I kind of separated them. So if you want to separate, I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. So I'm going to do some masking, sort of. My type of masking. This is the easy way, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick out this top butterfly and simply just ink the top one. And I'm going to stamp the top butterfly, just the top butterfly. Then since it's already inked, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to ink all three of them. And I'm going to put that cluster down here at the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean it completely off. And here comes my lazy masking again. And I'm going to just do the bottom butterfly. And I'm going to put that one up here. So there's my masking. Let me go out to create that background. Not too shabby. So we've got that done. So that one is good. That is our left-hand page. And here is our right-hand page. So all we need is this part right in here. So we just need that down in there. So let's go ahead and ink that up. Same thing, dip, dip, tap, tap, swirl. And we're going to just do right in this bottom corner. And again, you want more? Add more. You can start off the page and come in. I like kind of just all of a sudden land on the page. Very light-handed. And the Stampin' Up! Brushes are really nice. They're very big and thick. And if you can kind of put your finger or hang on to the head, it helps even more. All right. So let's go ahead, grab our stamp again. Since I did that the last time, make sure there's nothing on it for this time. And then I'm going to go ahead, wipe that off. And then I'm just going to ink that little one again. Okay. And I'm going to put that one towards the edge as well. All right, that is it for our stamping. So let's put a few pieces on this. Let's go back to our front piece. All right, let's add our base layers to it now. So we need this. We need all right, so here we go. I do a lot by sight. Oh, does that work? Yeah, that works. Okay. So I like this paper. It's got a center on it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put my adhesive on here. I like, oh, no, I don't usually have the cap on it. I love the Stampin' Steel. I'm, especially for making pages, I like the dry adhesives, the roll-on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and line it up perfectly in my center here. And attach that straight to the page. Then we can go ahead. If you are now that I just said, this is my favorite adhesive, I do have a tip for if you're going to add a strip along the side. and you're like, my adhesive's bigger than that, I usually just take a little of the liquid glue and run a strip down right on the paper and then just butt it up because this one just goes butted up to it. So that's my little adhesive tip. It works with ribbon as well. So not just paper, it'll work with ribbon. So that was just green glue. Okay. So that background of that page is done. So let's go ahead and now let's use our Wink of Stella on this page. All right, so I have a brand new Wink of Stella. So to get the Wink of Stella open, you take off the top, pull out the little ring, and then put this back on all the way down and tighten it and shake it up. And then it has little push areas, so you can go ahead and push. I love to call this lip gloss for paper. And I'm going to make a little pile. All right, so I'm just going to splatter it. I'm just using it against my finger, knowing I'm going to have pictures right here. So I'm going to kind of stay away from that area and do more where there's tons of ways to splatter. If you want a couple extra little bigger dots, you can put them where maybe you don't have them. But that's how we're going to do Wink of Stella on that page. And then we're going to set it off to the side and we're going to work on the other page so that this one will dry. All right, we're ready for the right-hand page. So this one is where we're going to build our pockets. So it's not real hard, but I would pay attention to when we get to these two strips, okay? Okay, here we go. Actually, let's go ahead and do these guys first so that they can dry. I'm going to use my little tip and just go down the center with my liquid adhesive on these. And these just get centered on here. So we're 1/4 inch solid cardstock. I'm using the dark side to a 1/2 inch of the stripe. And you could have your stripe going either way. I just like it this way. All right. Okay. So those are ready to attach when we're ready for them. Okay, here we go. This one we're going to put on with our stamp and seal. This is our first one. And it's going to go straight across or right to the left-hand side of the page. Okay. That was pretty easy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of our mats. And we're going to grab our little cardboard strips and our tear and tape. Because this way it's done right at that time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put a whole big strip on it and we're going to cut it into pieces. So this will fit on here because it should be 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch. If you have glue, then it sometimes can leak on the other. We're going to create our pocket. So what we're going to do with this little cardboard is we're going to give it some depth just so that it slides in and out without creating a ton of um, thickness. So what we're going to do is we're going to go across the top here. We'll attach our, so I do my scissors. So I'm going to go across the top of this one. I'm just going to cut it a little short. Okay, we're going to attach this with our tear and tape. So right across, maybe let's say, yeah, no, let's go right across the top because these are 6 inches and we're going to kind of overlap them a little bit. So right across the top. And then what I did is I used my photo mat as my template. And so we're going to do another strip of this. I'm going to cut it right there. So we're going to use our photo mat, give it a little extra so it has a little extras go in and out. Take off this. All right, maybe I should have peeled that off before I cut it. There we go. All right, so we're going to give it a little bit. We're creating our pocket. And so now we've got our pocket. Turn it over. Put your finger on this side of it. And this is where we're going to need the rest of this. We're going to put that right in there. So when we turn it over to put it on, we can put our pocket in this way. Does that make sense? Cut just a little bit of this off. Okay. And we're going to put this right here, this side where your finger is, and this is where it's going to go. Right up tight to the edge. Okay. That will create our pocket. We can add our stamp and seal on the bottom. Now we can take the tear tape off. That's what it is. Oh, so we're going to attach our tear and tape to this side as well. It's been a minute, a hot minute since I did this. Well, why isn't this coming off? It has to be on both sides. Okay, and then down. So this is going to create a really nice sturdy pocket for you. You could use your liquid glue. I when it comes to dimensionals and that type of thing, I really look at that. The backing comes off great when you put the tape on. Because I want you to know that I make mistakes as well. All right, so we're gonna just butt this one up to the one that's next to it. And check this out. We now have a pocket. Not really a pocket here, but we've got a pocket here. So let's go ahead and add one of our strips. And this is going to just get centered right on here. It should be a 3-inch strip. So should move it over just here. And our pocket is behind it. So it still will work because we're putting it over top of it. Perfect. So now we've created one pocket. So now we're going to create another pocket. We're going to create a pocket on the bottom of this page. That's why you have 2 of these strips. So we're going to put tear and tape on both sides of it for this one right away. We're not going to wait till the very end and go, oh yeah. So if you're making boxes or anything like that, I definitely would recommend the tear tape. It works so good to keep things that are going to get some use. Okay. All right. We've got tear and tape now on both sides. Look at that. So we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other one. We're going to start with the bottom of this one though. We're just going to do the one side. So one we did the top, one we're doing the bottom. And this one I did up a little bit farther. You could do it right at the bottom. You could do it up. I'm going to do it up like a half an inch. So it's not exactly at the bottom. Again, we're going to grab our little template there. Take one side off. Get it off. There we go. This one has lines. Yay. All right, here we go again. Now I'm going to flip it over and I want the pocket on this side. So this is the side like that. That's the side I want this on. Cut a little bit of this off. And I'm going to go right up tight to the edge. I'm going to add some of adhesive along that part of it. And now I'm going to peel these off because I know that I have it. Oh, geez. And of course, look at that. Add some of this on there quick. Okay. Flip it over. And again, we're going to just butt it up against the other one. And now we have another pocket. So we have this one. You might have to now just kind of lift it up a little bit. We have two pockets. Pretty cool, huh? Not hard. Hit two hidden pockets. Yay! So let's go ahead and do a few things with the, as long as we're on this page, we'll kind of finish this one up and be ready to go with that one. So now that we have that pocket there, we're going to add this onto the side. So we're going to just butt this up again, just to give it some, like a little border. Again, just to get it in there, like the first time, just do that. There we go. All right, so you're going to add your own pieces on there for your pictures and whatnot. But we're going to add some of our photo placeholder or mats. Oh, it's all right. We forgot to splatter. So let's go ahead. Go back. We're going to splatter. I'll edit this in. So we're going to take our shimmer brush, move everything out of the way that we don't want splattered, create our little puddle again. And we're going to splatter with this paper on it. And it's okay that we've got the I'm just going to add a couple here and there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp chamois, which was right here, and I'm just going to wipe it off my flip flap. So now there's nothing on our page. Look at that. It worked out just fine. And those little pieces that we had in our things. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to add our first mat. Oh, I did use a a dimensional on this, but that's okay because we're going to add, I put a dimensional on it, but then decided that we're going to use a flip flap on it. So it's okay. So we're going to put that there. You should have a flip flap in your bag. If you've not used them, you want to make sure that you fold that over so you're covering the edge, and remove the adhesive sheet and then line it up just like that and attach. Some of yours might go sideways, some might go up and down. All right, we've got that part taken care of. We've got two mats for the other half of the page. We've got these, and we've got a whole bunch of different little pieces over here. You pieces now. And our little baggie of pieces. All right, we're going to do the little pullout on one of them. So we have the top 5 that we stamped. So I'm going to add that to this piece. And I'm going to add that to the top. So you could put some journaling down here. You can do whatever you want. You can add a picture. I left it blank for you guys. So you can do whatever you would like. Another 3x4 photo would fit there. But it does have those cute little cutout arrows. So that one is done. That's one of our cutouts. Then we have a little tab on this one. I'm going to use a little liquid glue right here along the bottom. Oh, well, let's see. Let's do it this way. Because it's so narrow, that's when liquid glue comes in handy. So I'm just going to add it right on here as a pull tab. We'll pull. Okay. We're going to let that one dry. We're going to attach, and you could do the brighter, you could do the lighter. I'm going to do the brighter, I think. And we could do this one with dimensionals. So let's use dimensionals on this. Guys, I am not a Karen Patterson, so I do not cover everything. But I do love this little flick trick to get them uncovered. All right, so we're going to attach. Now my fingers are all gluey. Okay. We're going to also add a couple of dimensionals to those things. So now we are pretty much ready to add all of this stuff to our pages. So let's grab our front page, our left-hand page. Let's grab our 2. This is pretty much what goes on there, and a couple and 3 butterflies. So there are 3 different sizes. I did use the punch and pre-punched these for you guys. That's the olive flutter. So you should have 2 for one side, and you should have 3 butterflies for one side and 3 butterflies for the other side. You can use whatever you would like, however you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and I attached this one, I think, straight down. So let's see, just making sure I'm straight here. I'm going to go ahead and that one there, and then I'm going to use some dimensionals on this one. You could always use the black colored dimensionals, which are kind of neat to do on a darker colored background. If you're afraid that they might get seen. Okay. And then we're just going to add these. We're going to add a couple of butterflies on here. So one I'm going to do just straight down. Whoop. This little guy, I'm going to add a dimensional to. I like to use around the edges as well for my dimensionals on smaller ones, or I get the little dimensionals out, whichever. And so I'm just going to add that one there. Then I'm going to glue, attach this piece. A Beautiful Life. Oh, look at that butterfly just decided it should be part of this. So I'm going to attach it right here. Okay, so then the rest of these pieces we can use on the other page. You each should have a strip of the little gems. I like to take my pick tool, and now I can add some on there as well. Okay, let's see. Let's use the pink ones. We're going to kind of create a triangle here. And let's add a dark one and a light. Okay, so that page is done. All it needs is your pictures. The right-hand page, this guy will slip right in here. That's done. This one will slip in right there, and that one's done that we did. Now we've got all of these cool little pieces here, and we're going to create our cluster. I shouldn't have glued that down. So I started with the yellow, the Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to kind of put it in here underneath, and you can tuck and you can do different dimensions and just kind of play with it. I gave you enough butterflies that you can play around with it. You've got some leaves. Also got a nice little. Now remember, our picture is going to go over here, so I'm going to, if you wanted to use some some fabric or thread or ribbon on this, you definitely could. Remember, layers, 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 layers. And actually, I'm going to use some little liquid glue on this. And I'm going to tuck that in underneath there. I'm going to use my pop dot dimensionals on here. And I'm going to put some Love It. I have a flower. I'm going to dimensional that. My and. I just love this little ampersand. I had to get it in somewhere. And we can add a little butterfly in here. Let's do him down here with a little dimensional. Actually, I want it over here, I think, to add the dimension. And then since I have them, I'm going to put them on. Let's add them. And two. And let's add some dots. Oh, we've got this guy too. I'm going to add that right there. your just above where your photo would be, and you could stick your photo underneath there. You could color that in. I probably would have cut that, but it's all right. Let's add the dots. Here they are. Okay, I'm gonna go with the yellow because I'm gonna add them in here. And I'm gonna add yellow as the that. And I'm going to kind of create my triangle in here. Something up here. We'll do a bigger one up in there. So there we have it, guys. Here is our finished page.